Lovely. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining me again. So this is week 2 in our little course on connection. And tonight I'm going to focus on a class title called Internal Connection. And it's about just exploring through our yoga practice what it is that internally connects us. And I said last week when I introduced these 5 lessons on connection that connection was really us dancing around the core of what yoga is all about, because yoga means union, and it's about drawing together a sense of unity in the body, the mind and the breath, and creating a steady mind and really experiencing a sense of connection, certainly internal connection, and a sense of stillness. But there can be a little bit more, and those who've worked with me, for many years will know about my interest in anatomy and physiology. So I'm just going to share a thought or two about that, and then we can perhaps try to experience that a little bit through our yoga practice. So you may already know this, that from the stem cells that create you, 4 kinds of cells emerge from stem cells. So stem cells are like a magic thing. You can create any cell in the body from a stem cell. That's why scientists are so keen to get hold of them. And those 4 types of cells are neural cells, so cells that are very good at conducting electrical signals. So all the nerve cells in the brain and through the muscular system. And then you have your muscular cells, which are very good at contracting. You have your epithelial cells, which create skin and linings around organs in the body, such as around the lungs, things like that. And then amazingly, you have one other kind of cell, which is just called connective tissue cells. And they make everything else. So they make your bones, they make your blood, they make your cartilage, they create little fascial connective tissue bags, which go around every muscle fiber. So they really do give our bodies shape and structure. And when we start thinking about the body in that way, there is actually a series of connections between different kinds of cells. We can begin to really experience the body in a very visceral way as a holistic system, whereas ancient anatomy was all about separation. So human understanding has been advanced through separating body systems, but actually they always all work together. And as we'll try to experience in some of the stretches today, that we tend to focus on the muscle, but actually the line of movement of the stretch is going through multiple joints, and it goes through the medium of connective tissue that is linking different parts of your body. So another couple of things we'll be doing to explore this theme of internal connection is at times just to notice what our heart is doing, the steadiness of the heartbeat, the moments when we raise heart rate. Of course, we'll pay lots of attention to our breath and watching that. And we'll attempt to bring about even more internal connection in our minds through the process of dharana. And dharana is just the Sanskrit yoga term for concentration. But in a yoga class, it means that ability just to really zoom all your attention in on what you're sensing in the body, what you're experiencing in your breath, what is happening moment by moment. And over time, just training the mind so that it does less wandering. I really loved it when reading up on various scientific papers for the book I'm doing at the moment called Yoga on Prescription, to find that mind wandering is a scientific measurable term, and lots of studies have been done on what will limit mind wandering. So mind wandering is absolutely what always happens to people when they're doing anything, and particularly if you're a school teacher, you'll know all about children who mind wander, and people who are in jobs where it's not that intellectually challenging may suffer that as well. And I'm now yakking on a bit. Just one last thing. I I spent some time with an Indian yoga therapist called Dr. Vinod, and he used to tell a story that one of his most significant clients that he was able to treat was someone suffering from stress, but the stress was because they had too little to do. So they were in a job in India and they were just given so little to do, they were just bored, and that became the source of stress. So just interesting there. So when we can go within and really focus the mind and really experience what is happening in the body, we shift our awareness into a state of mindfulness. And then it's quite difficult to get bored, because even if you're not doing anything, you become bewitched by watching the breath or noticing sensations in the body. And all of that really helps to build body awareness, helps proprioception, helps you to look after yourself better. Okay, so we're going to begin, and for this week, like last week, and probably for the next couple of weeks, we're going to continue with the same breathing practice. So if you remember from last week, this is the roughly equal inhale and exhale. So if you'd like to just be in a comfortable position to breathe, feel that your spine is upright and neutral. So if there's any rounding at the back, it's usually very easy in a chair to bring the spine upright. If you're sitting on the floor, it could be a little more challenging, so maybe raise the hips on a cushion or a couple of yoga blocks. And then if you're comfortable, closing your eyes. And if you don't want to close your eyes, just have a soft downcast gaze forward to the floor in front of you. And then take a moment to allow everything to slow down. Give yourself this opportunity to, maybe for the first time today, if you've had a very busy day, to really check in with yourself, to notice how you've been feeling today, how you feel right now. Maybe just a little micro review of the day. Was it a really busy day? Was it a stressful day? Was it a relaxing day? Was it a day in which you felt bright and alert, or a day when you felt a little bit sluggish in the mind, a little bit tired, or maybe you were full of energy all day? And we do this every week. It's such a simple practice. But the tricky bit is to be able to notice and reflect on these things without wanting to analyze or judge. It becomes a little bit of an exercise in satya, another Sanskrit term, which means truthfulness. So that we're really being honest about what we feel right here, right now. Notice all the sensations in your body. And if you are looking after any part of your body, just bring that area into particular focus. Just make a little resolution to look after that part of your body and yourself throughout your practice. And don't forget, if anything is coming up in your practice that you want to ask me about, you can always call or email, and I'll be happy to give my thoughts. And then begin to tune into your breath. And as long as your nose isn't blocked, breathing in and out through the nose. And slowly and gradually, without any particular expectation of how long you're going to breathe in or breathe out, just see if you can shift your breath from whatever rhythm it was when you joined the class a few minutes ago, beginning to shift it into a smooth, maybe slower, more even, more flowing sense of inhale, followed by exhale. With the inhale and the exhale being roughly the same length. And we're just going to pay a little bit of particular attention to how we end the in-breath and how we start the exhale. Noticing if there are any rough edges there, any jaggedness in the breath, and try to make that a really smooth, easy transition. And then doing the same, noticing the end of the exhale and the beginning of the inhale. And slow, steady, mindful breathing, whichever particular technique you may be practicing at the time, are all going to have a very connecting impact. And it is the fastest way to change our state of mind and our awareness of our body. And then at the end of the next exhale, just allow that rhythm of breath to continue in the background. Notice how you're feeling. Notice any shift in how you're feeling. And then if you've been working with your eyes closed, blinking open the eyes, bringing the palms together and starting in the way we've been starting many of these classes recently. So breathing in and drawing the arms wide apart, reflecting the in-breath, and breathing out, bringing the palms back together in front of the heart. And again, just working on this lovely equal breath and allowing the two halves of the breath to connect in that beautifully effortless way. Inhale, merging into exhale. Exhale, merging into inhale. Do this 2 more times, noticing how your shoulders are. We'll do some specific shoulder releases in a moment. But can you get those shoulders just to slide back and down as you breathe in, and soften as you breathe out. And then release the hands down, give the arms a little shake, turn the palms outwards, and breathing in, floating the arms up, turning the palms and breathing out, lowering the arms down. Try to keep the shoulders as relaxed as possible. Feel as if you are drawing the palms up through the air and letting the palms float down through the air, rather than feeling you're lifting from anywhere near the top of the shoulders. The more these shoulders stay back and down, the more they act as counterweights. And maybe one week we will just carry on with this for a lot longer, because if you really focus on this practice, refine it over several minutes, you start to get this really peculiar sensation of weightlessness in the arms. And it really does feel as if your in-breath is inflating the arms, it's floating them up. They're becoming like 2 long balloons, and the exhale is like a very slow release of that inflation. Let's make this the last one. Inhale and exhale. And as you let the arms hang, give the arms a little shake, shake out any tension in the wrists and fingers. Try to feel as if the arms are heavy now, gone from lightness to heaviness, and the heaviness of the arms is encouraging these shoulders to come down, to come down, to come down, as much tension as possible, dropping away from the shoulders. If we breathe in and can lift the shoulders a long way up, that's usually a good sign. And then as you exhale, if you can move the shoulders a long way down, it usually means you've been quite successful in keeping the shoulders soft and released. Give the arms one more little shake. Another practice we did last week, so bending the elbows, fingertips towards the top of the shoulders, and then breathing in, bringing the elbows towards each other, still breathing in, drawing the elbows up, and then as the elbows begin to go back and down, exhaling. So making a circle with the elbows and breathing in for half the circle and breathing out for the other half. So we'll do a few of these because this is a really super practice for range of movement in the shoulders and the shoulder girdle. Of course, if you've got any shoulder problems or a lot of muscular tension there, these circles might be a little bit smaller. That's absolutely fine. What you don't want to feel is pain or significant discomfort. Sometimes a little bit of sensation there is indicating that you're working appropriately and getting some release. So again, that internal focus, that internal connection of mind to body will help us notice what is going on and really refine the practice so that your practice is absolutely individual to you. You're all in the same class, but you're all doing a practice that is absolutely led by your own breath and your own body. And then give the arms another little shake, maybe just a little easy shrug, move one shoulder then the other. Now we're going to do one more shoulder release. You can do this with the hands or you can do it with the belt. The belt just gives you a little bit more leeway if the shoulders are tight. Get a belt handy, maybe get hold of it. If you want to interlace the hands, you can. So either working from this position or working with a bit of belt, we're going to breathe in and reach up and breathe out and lower. So this is going to work on the shoulders as well, but we're going to add in just a little bit of work in the shoulder muscles themselves. So as you breathe in and raise the belt, and again, tight shoulders, here's fine, here's fine. If you can go all the way up, that's also fine, doesn't really matter. But I'm just stretching the belt at the end of that inhale, and then on the exhale, I'm releasing the stretch in the belt. So these belts don't really stretch, but you can put some tension in them. And as you do that, we're working some of the muscles of the outside of the shoulder. And muscles love to contract and then relax. It's one of the ways they really learn to release tension. And particularly in the shoulders, where you can be walking around with rock hard shoulders with quite a lot of tension in the shoulders. If you can do a mobilization exercise like this and just engage those muscles and then release them, it can help to train them to let go of some of that unwanted tension. So this time when we've gone up, so remember you could be doing it with the hands or you could be doing it with the belt. Just going to take a little side stretch. So do that on an exhale and then breathing in, come up to center and exhale to the other side. And again, just a little bit of stretch in the belt on the inhale as you're going over. We'll give the movement a tiny bit more control. And with side bends, you really don't have to go far. If you try to go too far and you have any weakness in the lower back, it may not feel that comfortable. So feel free just to do quite a gentle version of this. So last side stretch. And then again, remember, if you're doing it like that, that's fine. And then for the last one, we're going to leave one elbow high and bring one low. So with the belt, you'll be doing this. So I've got enough belt here to have one arm straight, and I've just drawn the wrist behind the back of the head there. And in this position, I can do one more little side stretch, and it's just going to exaggerate the lengthening process. And just see what you feel here, because this stretch is a little bit of a demonstration in our own, what we're feeling in the body, of what I was talking about in terms of the connective tissue. So there's a muscle here you can feel being stretched, but there isn't really a muscle that runs all the way down the side of the body. Most of them wrap around. So the stretch you feel all the way down to the left hip here, if you've got the left elbow high, is one that is going through lots of different muscles and through the connective tissue of the body. And that's what we're feeling. So stretches are not always just stretching a muscle. And this sort of holistic whole view of the body is really, really helpful when we are doing our yoga practice, because it's what happens in life in reality. Your body isn't really thinking it's going to use the bicep to pick up that cup of coffee. It just does the movement, and it uses lots of different muscles, and all of those are mediated by the connective tissue. Lovely. And then reaching up either with the belt or with the hands, and then lowering the arms down and giving the arms a little lift and roll. And then we're going to just do two more practices in the chair. So this next one, you can either just reach the hands back like this. So we're trying to come into a combination of using those released shoulders to draw them down the back, and at the same time begin to open the upper back, the spine a little bit more. Now, if you've got a chair like mine, it's actually quite comfortable to grab the sides of the chair. And for those of you who've hung onto your belt, some of you might like this version where you've got the belt behind you and you can stretch the arms a little way away, but doing that in a way that doesn't let the shoulders reach up. They have to stay back and down. And we're really feeling like we're lifting the breastbone, the sternum, and we're not pushing the tummy out at all. In fact, the opposite, unless you've got a medical reason not to engage the core muscles. We're keeping this area drawn in and trying to expand the chest and the ribs. Couple more breaths. And then actually just relax. If you're using the belt, or just relax the arms for a second, shrug the shoulders. I meant to say one other variation, so we'll do one more. If you are using a belt or holding the chair, then again, do a little bit of a stretch into the belt as you do your back bend, and that will activate the arms. If you had a third hand, you also feel that the process of stretching the belt engages your core muscles as well, so you get that additional benefit. Lovely. And then take the hands onto the knees, come back to a neutral spine, and then on an exhale, just bowing forward, tucking the chin in, and let the head extend fully forward, so the back of the neck is being lengthened by the weight of the head. And then as you breathe in, bring the head back to neutral. Use the hands if you need to push back up. And then carrying on inhaling, bring the palms up, palms facing forwards. Exhale, hands down, forward bend. So what I'd like you to do in this one, we'll do a few of these, is to really stretch your breath a little bit so that you have a lovely long exhale to go into the forward bend. And we stretch the inhale really so that we can have that long exhale, but also just to open the spine and the shoulders again and embed the work we've already done. So once more, and this time we're going to exhale and just stay in the forward bend. So you can keep the hands here supporting the weight of the upper body if you need to, particularly if you've got any, if the abdomen's in the way or if you've got any abdominal problems, this is going to be absolutely fine. And you will feel, I'm sure already, that you're creating space in the lower back. If you want to go deeper and fully release over the thighs, please feel free to do that. Everybody try to not hold on. The tendency in some people is just to hold on to the head, be in this position and haven't really let go of the head. You need to let go of the head, let the chin tuck in, let the weight of the head fall forwards. That is using the natural weight of the head in gravity to give you the length in the neck, which is just as important as that length in the lower back. Because we're sitting in the chair doing this forward bend from here, there should be no sense of the blood rushing into the head, no sense of pressure there. Whereas if we were standing up, that would be a little more of a problem. Lovely. If any of you do have a little bit of lower back issues, when you're in this position, feel free to do it any time during the day. And just a very subtle drawing back of one hip and then drawing back the other, just to give a little bit of a side-to-side wiggle in that lower back area, and then coming back into the more precise midline forward fold could really help you to let go of that tension if you have it there. Great. So coming up, just bring the head up first until it's level with the rest of the spine, then come all the way up. And then those of you who are coming down onto the mat are going to do that now. And if you're continuing in a chair, then you're going to maybe reposition the chair if you need to, as I've done near the mat. So those in the chair are just going to begin with a little bit of upper body circling. And those of you who are now down on the mat, if you'd like to bring the knees in over the chest and begin to circle the knees. We're keeping the knees together at this point, and we're really feeling that the lower back and the back of the sacrum are getting a massage from the floor, and that area is becoming more spacious and released. So if this doesn't feel comfortable, it might mean that you have a thin yoga mat. You'll notice I've got a thick yoga mat and I've got a thick yoga practice blanket. So there are really no extra points for suffering in this class. You must be comfortable. So if you're on a deep pile carpet, then good on you. So just reverse the directions now. For those who want a slightly stronger practice, instead of holding the knees, keep the knees together and circle in the other direction, still working your way around the back of the pelvis and the lower back, and trying to avoid the feeling that the lower back is arching away from the mat to a significant degree. Great. And then coming back to center, if you're on the mat, you're either going to hold the shins or the thighs, and we're going to exhale and squeeze the thighs in. And if you want to, you can draw the head up as well, and inhale, head down, arms straight. We can just keep the head on the mat. So drawing the thighs in on an exhale. And if we're on the chair, we're just doing a little bit like we did a few moments ago. You're in a chair, you need to do a couple of those, and then you're going to move on to doing single legs, either holding the back of the thigh. This is good if you've got any knee issues, and just drawing the chest and the thigh towards each other as you exhale and inhale, straightening the arms. Those on the mat, we're just moving on to that version of the practice, and you can do this with the other leg in semi-supine, or if you're used to doing this practice with the other leg straight, which is a little more demanding in terms of hip opening, then feel free to do that. So exhale, right thigh is coming in, inhale, Just arms go no further than straight, just creating space for that breath. And really keep the straight leg working, push the heel away, pull the toes back, spread the toes of the foot. And then on the next exhale, make that the last one. And then when you inhale, just pause and rotate that right ankle. A few times clockwise, a few times anti-clockwise. The same if you're in the chair. And then take that right foot down and working in exactly the same way on the left leg. Notice the sensations in your body. Notice that internal connection to everything you feel that is going on in your hips. And then when you have released the knee away from the thigh for on the next in-breath, just take that foot down, slide both feet away. If you've been working with a bent leg, and give the legs a little shake. And if you're in a chair, just rocking the hips from side to side. So we'll move on now to a little bit of hip opening, and we'll spend some time here because this is a really good practice for exploring that habit of fully focusing on what we are sensing within the body, that internal connection. So very, very slowly, inhaling for half a circle and exhaling for half a circle. And from the chair, you're just doing one leg at a time. And think of every breath and every rotation as an opportunity to notice and feel what is taking place in the hips. And once you refine that habit and those pathways of proprioception, which is just the kind of medical term for awareness of what is taking place in the body, you can begin to notice the tiny changes, the sense of space that is coming into the hip joints as you work. So if you're working this on the mat, begin to rotate in the other direction. And maybe now is the time just to reflect on how much mind wandering you've experienced so far and how well or not you've been able to really maintain your focus, your dharana on your practice. And again, not judging yourself and not expecting to have this kind of perfect 100% focus at all times. We get distracted, we bring the mind back, we encourage it, we refocus it. And that is the way we build concentration, our skills of dharana, slowly over time. Lovely. So the next practice is a preparation for a twist. And we can do this with the knees bent, or we can do it with the legs straight. If you're doing it with the knees bent, it's more of an upper body stretch. And this is what people working in a chair will be doing, just taking the arms up into the air as you inhale, but a much more active stretch. So really spreading the fingers, trying to make the palms as wide as possible, trying to reach as high as possible on that inhale. And as the arms come back, softening the shoulders, the arms, the hands, and the wrist. So with the legs straight, you would push the heels away, pull the toes back, and do a really big full body stretch on the inhale, and a full body softening on exhale. So just continue with that for a few more breaths. We'll do around about 5 altogether. Those working in the chair, as you reach up, you can just press the soles of the feet down into the mat a little bit on that inhale. And then as you soften and lower the arms, also soften the feet, soften the legs. That pressing into the floor, just activate, fire up the quads, will give you a little bit of leg work and leg strength as you do this. The purpose is to lengthen the spine. And the second purpose is to explore the sensation, the internal connection that we feel on inhale when everything is tight and contracted and deliberately tense, and the softening process, the experience of release as we breathe out. And then if you're lying on the mat, on the next inhale, see if you can just hold the stretch for 3 breaths. You don't have to do so many if you're in the chair, because it's more tiring to hold the arms up in the air like this. And if you've got any blood pressure issues, it'd be better just to drop the elbows down. And if you're doing the full body stretch on the floor, try a little bit of pointing the toes as well as flexing. And then round about now, when you get to the end of the 3rd inhale, you can do a long exhale and become fully soft, and just take a couple of breaths in that softness, noticing all the sensations in the body, feeling that internal connection, which is throughout the body. That's one of the few stretches that involves a very, very large number of skeletal muscles and makes us feel as if the whole of the body is involved, not just those muscles, but lots of joints. And of course, the whole lengthening process through the front of the body, through the back of the body, being mediated by that connective tissue, which is then called the superficial front line, the superficial back line, the deep front line, the deep back line. These are all the names for the kind of lines of lengthening that are taking place, that are not just in the muscular system. So for the twist, if you're in a chair, I'm going to invite you to sit sideways. And I'll just quickly show the people working in the chair what they're going to do. You're going to breathe in and just bring the arms up high enough to get over the back of the chair. So it could be up to here or even up to here. And then you're going to exhale and release and turn the shoulders towards the back of the chair and turn the head the opposite way. And then inhale back to center, exhale. So you'll be going in and out of the same side 4 or 5 times, and then you'll turn around and sit on the other side of the chair. For those working on the mat, you can just go alternately right side, left side with your well-known, well-practiced Jatara Paravritti, JP twist. So exhaling, knees to the right, head rolling to the left. Inhaling, knees and head to center, and exhaling, knees to the left and head to the right. So just keep working with your breath. Remember, if you're newish to yoga, if you've got any stiffness in the spine, you're going to keep the feet on the floor. Only if you're an experienced practitioner and you're used to lifting the feet off the mat and you really want a stronger twist, then you might explore that, but it's really, really not necessary. And the guiding principle here is those shoulders need to remain glued to the mat, rooting down to the earth as you twist from one side to the other. If the shoulders are lifting, then you're not achieving enough spinal twist in the spine itself. And then those in a chair, you'll probably be moving around to the other side now if you haven't already. And those who are working on the mat. The next time you take the knees to the right, just hold that position. Remember, the head is turned the opposite way. And we're just going to take an extra 2 breaths here. And while you're doing that, you're going to slightly squeeze the knees towards each other. This is going to activate the inner thigh muscles and just draw that left hip round. So you may experience a slightly deeper twist. And then at the end of the second exhale, inhale back to center, and then do a 2 breath twist on the other side as well. And then when you've done that and you inhale back to center, draw the knees in over the chest if you're lying on the mat. And if you're in a chair, just coming softly forwards. Just a little bit of rocking from side to side. Knees in over the chest, or rock from side to side, and release any tension that may have been created by that practice. So we're going to stretch the hamstring muscles now, but we'll try to transcend the hamstrings and feel as if we're really drawing the stretch into the connective tissue and not just the muscle. And sometimes when we just shift our mind and think about a stretch in a different way, it stops the mind obsessing on short, tight muscles and helps us to achieve a slightly deeper stretch and a slightly deeper sense of space. So if you're sitting on the chair, just take the belt around the right foot. If you've got any knee issues, just work with this. You might be doing little or nothing with the side with the knee problem, and just working a little longer on the other leg. So we're going to do our usual inhale, bend the knee, exhale, straighten the leg. But before we start, I just want you to take the right leg up into the air if you're on the mat, or out in front of you if you're in the chair, and just find a comfortable version of this stretch. So just feel what you sense in the leg. Where is the tightness? Most people are going to get the most sensation and feedback from this hamstring muscle, the one we've talked about many times, that gets short from a lot of sitting around in chairs. So what we're going to do instead is think about using the belt to draw the whole of the leg deep into the hip, in this case the right hip, and feel that the stretch is actually from the ground below the right hip up through the right glute, through the right hip, down the thigh bone, through the knee joint, through the leg, out through the heel, and beyond the sole of the foot up towards the sky. So actually we're going to breathe in and draw the breath from the foot down the leg into the ground, and we're going to breathe out and send the breath from the ground up through the sole of the foot. And whatever lengthening happens to this muscle is just going to be a byproduct of that practice. So breathing in, let the knee bend, let it come in as far as you want to, even right into the rib cage. Keep the shoulders relaxed and down, and nice long exhale, extend that leg. Breathing in, remember the breath coming down through the sole of the foot, down the leg, down into the ground. Exhale up from the ground, through the thigh, the knee, the lower leg, the foot. And now allow yourself to work with that visualization, with your breath, with whatever is going on in your leg and whatever sensations you are experiencing. Can you just allow that internal connection to become completely dominant in the mind? Your whole of your focus is on breathing up and down from the ground through the right leg, experiencing this gradual sense of easing into space. And we're just going to do one more dynamic. So next time you exhale, you're going to hold this stretch for 5 breaths. And although the leg is not moving now, we're still visualizing the breath moving up and down the leg. Sending that exhale down the leg, finding the space with our breath. Take your time when you get to the end of the 5th breath. Bend the knee, release it, take the foot down onto the floor. If you're lying on your back, slide both legs straight and just take a moment to really notice the sensations in that right leg. Compare it to the left leg. And then drawing the knees in over the chest, rocking from side to side, or just folding forwards and rocking from side to side if you're working from a chair. And then onto the left leg in exactly the same way. Maybe just starting with holding the leg in the stretch, establishing where you're breathing from. Inhale from the foot down to the ground through the left hip. Exhale from the ground up, down the leg, out through the foot. And then beginning to work dynamically. It's not about the hamstring, it's not about any mild discomfort you may feel. It's just about your breath and breathing in up and down the leg and inviting that leg to move into a place where it feels more comfortable, more spacious. It feels a little bit softer and less tense. And then in the next breath or two, you're going to feel like you've done as many as you did on the other side, and you're going to move into that static phase, just holding the stretch, but maintaining your dharana, your focus on the breath, moving up and down the leg. And when you have completed 5 of your own breaths, release the leg down. If you're lying on your back, slide both legs straight and recompare the legs. Do the same from sitting. And when you've done that, take the same counter pose, hug the knees in, rock from side to side, or bow gently forward over both thighs. So our last posture before we do just a little bit of our modified sun salutations is going to be a back bend. So we're going to take away anything that you might have had under the back of the head. And I've got my belt here around the front of the ankles. You can use that or not use it. It's up to you. I'll show you how we use it with the belt, and then you can choose. I find that with the belt, and with the belt wrapped once around the hands, it makes the hands relax. It gives a really nice connection to the feet. And then what we're going to be doing initially is just exhaling and drawing the tummy muscles in and feeling the lower back flatten against the floor. And actually, almost as if you're trying to pat something down. Make that quite a firm press with the back of the pelvis down to the mat. And as you inhale, just lifting the front of the pelvis, create your lumbar curve, just a slight one, and use the whole of the exhale to flatten that lumbar curve against the mat. Doing the same in the chair. You don't really need the belt. If you want to use that around the shins, that would be absolutely fine. And this time you're doing the same thing. Exhale, drawing the tummy in, feel the top of the pelvis moving back, inhaling, coming back up to a neutral spine. So to move from there into the back bend, we're going to try to maintain that feeling of zipping up through the core of the body when we flatten the back against the floor, so that on the next inhale, as the pelvis floats up, everything's supported through the abdominal area, and you're really feeling that you're working the thighs and lifting the breastbone to open the chest. You don't have to come up very high, you don't have to come up at all actually, or you could just come up 2 or 3 inches, and then you're going to roll the spine down on exhale. So inhale, coming up, exhale, rolling down, and just finish that roll down with a little press of the lower back flat onto the floor. And just working the same way from the chair. So in this dynamic back bend, we're just creating space in the front of the body, and we're also creating quite a lot of spinal mobility by rolling down the spine 1 vertebra at a time. We're engaging through the core of the body. We're using multiple layers of these lines of stretch. We're using multiple muscles, and the lines of movement here are crossing through lots of different muscles, both in the superficial layer and also in the deep layer of the body. And maybe without over-analyzing that, you can just feel the experience of that, how you're working both muscles. You can feel working near close to the surface of the body, just under the skin, but going right deep into the core of your body, to the central structure of the spine. Everything is engaged in this movement, and the internal connection here is very, very strong at that very visceral, physical level. For those who want to, you can either now draw the knees in and take a little rest. We can do one more and actually hold the back bend. Press into the shoulders, press into the feet, slightly internally rotate the thighs, and you'll find that you're really working these quads strongly. The feet feel grounded and strong. The spine is open. Hopefully the shoulders are relaxed, but are gently pressing down into the earth, down into the floor, so that there's no weight going into the neck. So if you come a bit higher and you feel the weight moving away from the shoulders into the neck, then you just need to put some padding under the shoulders, a folded blanket or something like that, but definitely nothing under the head. And then if you've been holding, releasing now, draw the knees in, rock from side to side, and then take the feet down, folding forwards, rocking over the thighs if you're sitting in the chair. And then we'll come into our penultimate practice, which is going to be a sun salutation, which you can do from a chair or from standing. And I'm going to demonstrate the first one from a chair, but some of you know this sequence it's very familiar to you, so you might want to do all of them from standing. That would be absolutely fine. So just before we come into that sun salutation, we're going to give the shoulders a little lift and roll, give the arms a shake, And then bring the palms together. And we're just going to find the spaciousness of our breath by taking the arms wide and high as we breathe in, and exhaling, drawing the palms down through the midline of the body. So remember, you can do this sitting or standing. As you take the arms wide, feel as if you're rolling shoulders out and back as you turn the palms out, rather than just turning the wrists. So the whole of the arm opens, the arms float up to a comfortable height. Exhale down through the midline of the body. Roughly equal breath. As you breathe in, lift the toes, keep the heels down. And as you exhale, lower the toes. And as you breathe in, push into the toes, hover the heels. And as you exhale, release the heels down. If you're doing this from standing, you feel at all unsteady, have the back of the chair handy or a wall. Lifting the toes again on this one. Exhale, release. And now the heels. Exhale, release. Finishing with the hands in front of the heart, coming into our first sun salutation. Breathing in, opening up into a little back bend with cactus arms. Exhaling, taking the hands onto the thighs and folding forwards. Inhaling, coming halfway up so the back is flat. And exhaling, forward fold once more. Inhaling, coming up. Exhaling, hands to heart. Inhale, take these arms up just as high as is comfortable, and exhale, sway in a side bend to the right. Inhale, come up to center, and exhale, back down to the heart center. Inhale, reach up. And exhale to the left. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, hands in front of the heart. If you're working in the chair, staying in the chair, just carry on. I'm going to demonstrate the next one from standing. Breathing in. As you breathe out, bending the knees, catching the thighs, coming into your forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Remember, you can hover the hands here if you want to do a little bit of additional back strengthening. Exhale, slightly deeper forward fold, if that's right for you. Inhale, flat back, coming up with a neutral spine. Use the thighs, draw the shoulders back. Exhale. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale to the right. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale to the other side. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, hands to heart. I'd like to do 2 more rounds in your own time, following your own breath, and try to make these 2 rounds of sun salutations the kind of pinnacle of your dharana, the pinnacle of your integration of breath and movement and focus, and really experience everything that you sense in your body as you breathe and move. If you get any of the sequence wrong, it doesn't matter. So just do your own thing. As long as you're breathing and moving with grace and without any pain or significant discomfort, that is fine. Take your time, there's absolutely no rush. And when you've completed your second sun salutation, just take a moment to pause with your eyes closed if you're comfortable. Notice exactly how you feel. I mentioned the heart rate at the beginning of the class as one of the things we might observe. And when we've done some dynamic practice like that, you may notice that elevated heart rate. And then you can watch as the body moves into a period of rest and begins to slow your heart rate back down again. So our final practice before relaxation is to take our mild inversion using the chair. You could have your legs up the wall or anything else, but the chair is comfortable and convenient. You have a yoga block, place it under the hips, enough blanket to keep the back of the neck long and neutral behind the head. And then allowing the eyes to close or having a soft gaze up towards the ceiling. Notice all the sensations in your body. Notice the heart beginning to slow now. Try to have a sense of the integrated wholeness of your physical body, powered by the heart, powered by the breath, and how the state of ease that we cultivate in our body through our yoga practice feeds into a settling of the mind, and how the settling of the mind through our concentration and focus feeds into the sense of ease in the body. And then we're going to make an easy transition into relaxation. You've been in a chair and perhaps had the luxury of just putting your feet up on another chair for the inversion. You could stay in the chair like that if that was comfortable for you, one leg or both legs, and use the relaxation more as a concentration exercise if it's impossible to come down onto the floor. Otherwise, if you're on the floor, just be in a comfortable position, supported as much as you need to be, And if you're happy lying on your back with the arms and legs either side of the body in the usual yoga relaxation position, that'll be absolutely fine. So once you are in your relaxation posture, again, allow the eyes to softly close or have a soft gaze up to the ceiling or forward and down if you're in a chair. And take a moment to notice all the connecting points between the back of the body and the floor, or between the back of the chair, the seat of the chair, and the feet on the floor. The whole of the body connecting down to the earth. The whole of the body nourished by the one breath. And the whole of the body nourished by that one breath made of the air that we all breathe. And yoga very much supports this holistic view of the body, the mind, and the breath. But let's also take a moment in this relaxation to try to really experience, appreciate the miracle of all the cells, the trillions and trillions of cells, all with their specialist function that make up us, that communicate with each other, that from that trillions and trillions of individual cells make something whole, conscious, perfect. The nerve cells, the neural cells, sending the signals, allowing you to feel the sensations in your body, to experience thoughts, and to experience awareness. The muscle cells now mainly relaxing in the skeletal muscles, but there's no rest for the cardiac muscles that begin to beat in the womb and continue to beat throughout the whole of our lives. The epithelial cells giving us our skin, our sense of touch, compartmentalizing, holding, protecting the vital organs of the body. And the amazing 6 trillion connective tissue cells, creating everything from our hard, bony skeleton to the blood that flows through our body, that connects everything together and turns this incredible number of cells into the single person that is you. It is internal connection on a grand scale. Just take a few moments to be with every aspect of your body, to appreciate it for the miracle that it is, to sense everything that you can feel in your body, and to find the space and the steadiness in your mind and in your breath. And now allow your breath to deepen. Bring movement back into your body by wriggling the fingers, wriggling the toes, stretching in any way that feels good. And if you're lying on the mat, bending the knees, rolling onto your side. And then coming back up to sitting, either sitting supported on the mat or coming back into your chair. And we'll just close with a final few breaths. So coming back into a really comfortable position with the spine upright, the head stacked over the heart over the pelvis, the hands resting on the thighs, palms down or palms up. And eyes closed or soft gaze down. And coming back to 5 beautiful, nourishing, equal breaths. Inhaling and exhaling. Finding that smooth transition from inhale to exhale and from exhale to inhale. And as we bring our practice to a close, just taking a final check-in on the quality of your mind, the sensations in your body. And then when you're ready, blinking open the eyes. Thank you very much for joining me this week, and I will see you next week.